And good morning. Welcome. It is Jennifer Britton, and we are wrapping up the 14 days of focus with the Plan, Do, Track series. It's been so exciting for me to bring this series out into the world in the last 14 days. It really has been a full one, and I guess if I hadn't known how busy the year end would get, I might not have done this, but I don't regret it. We started off 14 days ago. Today's call is the final one in the series. I am Jennifer Britton, author of PlanDoTrack and several other books. I'm a coach and also an author. I work primarily with leaders, team members in the virtual space and remote space, as well as coaches and entrepreneurs, people growing their own virtual businesses. We are in year 15 of our business, turning 15 at Potentials Realized in 2019, and really has been a pleasure to spend some time with you in the last few days. If you have read PlanDoTrack or have a copy of Coaching Business Builder, welcome. I hope this is going to take you into some other ideas, other areas that you could be looking at. So do follow along, PlanDoTrack.com for daily updates on the 14-day series. If you are a coach, check out CoachingBusinessBuilder.com. I have a new newsletter list, which you can access at bit.ly/PDT list for newsletter special offers. So a little bit about the book, PlanDoTrack and Coaching Business Builder, divided into 5 sections. Whether you're a coach or a business owner, you're going to find that it's really quite useful. It goes into business and virtual fundamentals. There is a whole primer section getting you to focus in on what's important and what you have at your disposal. There is a third section, which is all about marketing essentials or even promotion. For many years, I was a leader myself within a large organization or several large global organizations. As I transitioned out into my own business, I realized that I'd been doing marketing for years. We just called it positioning and advocacy. So the third section is really about giving you ideas on how you're going to spread the word about what you do, whether you're a for-profit company, a nonprofit, a solopreneur, or other. And section 4 looks at the ecosystem. Who are you? Who are you as a professional? Who are you as a leader, a business owner? At the end of the day, in times of uncertainty, we want to leverage what we're good at. And the ecosystem gets you reconnecting with what's important, what you have at your disposal, and sort of what makes you unique. What do you have around you? Finally, there is, of course, the planner, which is an undated 12-month series. You can start at any time of the year. You don't have to wait for January 1st. So I've done a brief overview of PlanDoTrack and Coaching Business Builder in the last few weeks, but I would say what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. 2019 for me and my work with teams, leaders, business owners, and coaches is going to be all about getting things done, having more focus, getting into consistent action so that you can hit those goals and those things that you are wanting to do. I've had a lot of fun this fall, and continuing into 2019 will be the series of the PlanDoTrack virtual retreats. More on that a little bit later, but perhaps you've met me there as well. I'll be doing one a month as we move through the month of 2019, or the year of 2019. So let's take a look. 14 days of focus. We started this 14 days ago on Friday, December 7th. This was in part, here was my thinking. There's a way to quickly ramp up with the launch of PlanDoTrack last Friday, and really wanted to bring to you different slices of what was important. So with that, we're going to go into a little overview of the PlanDoTrack. Let me just go. I'm going to stop my share here, pull up another slide deck here. Just one sec. All right, I've got it up here now for us. So let me walk you through sort of our last 14 days together. We started this journey on December 7th, 2018 with an introduction, and I did a short call introducing you to the PlanDoTrack, also introducing you to this series. That then began the 14 days, and it was a combination of both blog posts, videos, and other resources. So if you haven't met me before via my blog, I have celebrated this year 5 years of daily blogging over at the Teams 365 blog. That's housed at potentialsrealized.com. You can see the link there. And I will be continuing this into 2019. Really short, quick posts, obviously, because it is daily, getting you to think about things. And on day 2 of the 14-day series for PlanDoTrack, I shared with you a weekend journaling prompt. Every Saturday, we do a weekend journaling prompt. On December 8th, we looked at 10 benefits of journaling and also a weekly journaling prompt. Just going to reach behind my screen for a minute, because one of the interesting projects I worked on this fall was the 90 days PlanDoTrack. And since the start of fall, I've done a series of prompting questions over at Instagram. Questions like, what do you want your business to look like in 90 days? That was day one of the series. Day two was, what are your top 3 goals you want to complete in the next 90 days? And it's interesting, I'll go back and look at this, but I wanted to do more work around Coaching Business Builder. Also, 2019 bookings in. I'm happy to say that was yes, definitely. And also focus in on getting the 90 days PlanDoTrack out into the world. And as we know, that really has led then to the launch of the book, which I don't think at the beginning of fall I thought we could actually get out. I thought we were going to be aiming more towards March, but it is live and I'm so excited. On day 3 of this series, so we're looking at around the 10th of December, I hosted a program design hack. This is not available as a recording, but it is a program I offer on a regular basis as part of the Learning Lab and Design Studio and the Coaching Biz Growth Lab. Design hacks are 45-minute intensive working sessions, virtual working sessions, getting you to move from idea into structure around some program work. Maybe you are designing a webinar, maybe you're designing a presentation or a speaking engagement or a team offsite. These are the things that people bring to the design hacks. And I was very happy to host one as part of day 3 of this series. If you missed it, hope you'll join me maybe for one of the 2019 programs that I just mentioned. Day 4 was the 9 for 2019, one of our productivity tips. This is a series I started over at the potentialsrealized.com Teams 365 blog. We are obviously only a few into that. It's going to continue on into the new year, but really would invite you to really think about where are you getting your results. So you can read all through this blog post over at potentialsrealized.com. It is Teams 365 number 1807. You can also just take that to Google and you will find it. It will come up into your Google. I do hope that you'll follow along, because really part of productivity is about getting focused and knowing where you get your results. It is also about what we looked at day 5. Productivity tips, time tracking. Where are you getting your results? Where is your time going? Are you spending 10 hours a week commuting? And that is not an overstatement. Many of my neighbors spend more than 10 hours a day, 10 hours a week commuting. So how could you maximize those times? What are you spending your time on? And how does that connect in with the 80-20 rule? On day 6, so a week ago Thursday, we looked at, or I included as part of this, a team building tip. And the question that day was our biggest learning. For the last 214 days, 214 weeks actually, 214 weeks, I have offered a Thursday team building tip. And for years now, I've had a deck of cards, short, small deck of cards. They're called the Teams 365 Sparker cards. They're geared for team leaders to go and share a question a day or a question a week with their team members. A lot of people thought this is great and I wish I had a digital version. So I'm actually very pleased to announce today, just came live last night, but if you go over to potentialsrealized.com, you can buy volume 1 of our first 52 weeks of team building tips prompters as a digital version. Maybe you want to bring it into your monthly WebEx meeting. You can bring in that slide, that question to spark conversation, to help frame conversations. So they're very short. Things like, what are the assumptions we're making? What will help our team move ahead? High-performing teams excel with relationships and results. What do we need to focus on? So team building tips are there for you to read the blog posts. There are small cards. Volume 1 has a collection not only of 52 weeks, but I've added a bonus 5 on so that you have 57 different prompts. And a lot of organizations have incorporated them as a weekly soundbite, something to help frame focus and, more importantly, conversation. So a great tool for you and your resources. Now, last week at this time, I was very happy to release PlanDoTrack. It feels like it's been out in the world a lot longer than a year. And Like all of my books, I know that it will find its own legs. I've taken you already through the 5 different sections, and I hope that you'll find this a useful resource. If you are deciding or wondering which one do I go with, PlanDoTrack is really geared towards virtual entrepreneurs, virtual and remote team leaders. Now, if you don't work for virtually or remote, you can definitely pick up a copy. It's just there are a few sections that are really tailored towards the virtual space in terms of virtual skills, etc. As similar, and you know, we often want to make a distinction, but leadership is leadership. Teamwork is teamwork. So if you do not work remote or virtually, please feel free to pick up a copy. If you are a coach, you will want to definitely find the Coaching Business Builder as your resource. We go into current stats around the industry. We go into different elements. So that is definitely a good resource for you. If you haven't checked out that release day call, please do find it over at PlanDoTrack.com. Also uploaded to our PlanDoTrack YouTube, what is it called? It's called a YouTube playlist. Thank you. So days 8 and 9, weekend journaling prompt. And every week, again, I do a weekly journaling prompt over at the Teams 365 blog. It is a blog that's great to subscribe to. If you are interested, we'll make sure that we get a link up there. And weekly journaling prompts come every Saturday. So last question last week was, what makes me or what makes us unique as a team? What's the thing that helps you stand out? I followed that up on Monday with the 9 for 2019 PlanDoTrack, and I picked really 9 of my favorites from the book. There are a lot of different tips, a lot of different tools, a lot of different ideas. And just as I have really reinforced here, the book is about planning. It's also about getting into action and tracking things. Yesterday, as we moved through the virtual retreat for December 20th, we spent a couple of hours looking at the planning process. And so one of the areas was create your vision. Second area I talked about in last week's recording is consider your high impact activities. And that might come to you with a question that comes from the 90 Days PlanDoTrack series on Instagram. What is a ripple you want to create? You'll notice in all of my work, there are a couple of icons that continue to circle time and time again. So my business logo is all about the water drop. As I started Potentials Realized back in April of 2004, it was really important for me to continue my global work. I spent the first 15 years of my career working internationally, based out of Central and South America, Europe, and also the Caribbean. And a big part of my work was about having ripple impact and effect through others. That still holds true. And today I work through coaches, I work through leaders, I work through team members, and I also work through business owners and entrepreneurs. So consider the high impact activities. There's lots that we could be doing, but what's really going to give you the impact? And one of the other things we may want to do in the planning cycle is, of course, break it down. So you'll notice in the PlanDoTrack workbook and planner, in the planner section, there are annual tools, there are quarterly tools, monthly, weekly, and it's not really a daily focus. I would trust that you have your own daily process to look at it. And why it's so important that we break it down is because we often get stuck in that granular area. As a former project manager, really key that we actually look at not only the weekly view, but the monthly view, the quarterly view, and of course the annual view. So whenever you're finding this, do check it out. There's about 28 different planning process frameworks included in the PlanDoTrack planner section, about 150 pages. And as I said earlier in the call, you can start that at any time. If you're listening to this in April, pick up a copy. You can start in April, you can start in May, you can start in December. There's no time expiration. It's undated. Now, the second component is our purple section. That's the do. And I won't go into the full effect of what we talked about earlier this week in the 9 for 2019. But part of the work as a coach that I undertake is about getting people into consistent action, making sure that they're leveraging their strengths and really looking at what they need in terms of collaboration and accountability. So think about those themes, and that's going to help you also then measure in what's impactful. So the green is all about metrics that matter. It's about taking pause points to review and make those adjustments. I shared a little quote there from Aristotle: for the things we have to learn before we can do them, We learn by doing them. And think about all your successes this year in 2018 or whatever year you're listening to this in. Really, many times we don't know what is going to happen. I was just doing a call a few minutes ago with our Learning Lab and Design Studio group, and I said, wow, like as I think back to 2018 and our business at Potentials realized there were some things on the horizon, but both of these planners weren't, and it's been quite an amazing sort of experience to really see how people are embracing this, are taking their plans forward and using it in so many different ways. So we continued on. Day 11 was all about productivity tip number 5, again, over at potentialsrealize.com, know where your time goes. We've done some tracking of our time. We've thought about high impact work, but really as you track your time over the span of a week, where does it go? What are the things that are helping and what are the things that are just time suckers? You know, some writers call them time vampires. I just call them like the black hole. That could be time spent on social media. It could be time in the commute. It could be other things that really aren't adding value in the bigger picture. So we also want to think about what can we outsource? What can we delegate? What are the things that just are not making us happy? And part of this is also about creating white space. It's about chunking it down, as I like to talk about it. If we don't build in sort of components where things are bundled together, there's a lot of what's called cognitive load and cognitive switching cost. And neuroscientists have helped us understand that as we move from a task to task, it takes energy, it takes a distinction and focus. And so part of this week's productivity tip on number 6 of the 19 for 2019 is about chunking things down. How do you break down big tasks, but also how do you put like with like things together? And I've really been experimenting with this in my own personal work. As you know, I'm an author, I'm a coach, I'm a program designer. You know, as a small business owner, I am doing a lot of different things all the time. From client service provision to reviewing the finances, from looking at writing and creating to marketing. And those are all different types of activities. So to keep things moving this year, I've really experimented with this notion of chunking things down, dedicating days of the week, which are at least have white space in larger points. I wouldn't say I often have a full day to do nothing other than write or do paperwork, but I do try to bundle it either at the start of the day or the end of the day, just to give me some of that space to address important things. And interestingly enough, I was reading Laura Vanderkam's book, her newest book, and she was talking about the significant cost so many employees today face with meetings. Even starting to think about chunking and bundling meetings can free up a huge amount of white space in your work. What I'm noticing with a lot of the leaders and team members that I work with, they're actually opting to work remote a couple days a week so that they can get the heavy lifting done in their work. If we're constantly in a meeting, we're not getting work done. So sometimes for many, going off-site, working off-site from the home, there's no longer this myth that you can't be effective, that you're going to be doing so many things from home. In fact, often that's where people are turning to get their heavy work done. When I say heavy work, I just mean the brain-based work that we need in a knowledge economy. We are not creating widgets, most of us. We are really needing to think strategically, get out of the noise, think about the pros and cons, and we need focus on that. If we're thinking about the next meeting or what we need to do, it's not sustainable. So finally, day 13, that was yesterday. I did 5 tools for productivity, and I hope that you'll listen to that. I've inferred or made reference to a couple of these already, but I cover some of the tools for productivity around prioritization, communication, strategic planning, as well as delegation and handoff. And I think for those that are looking for a very practical and tactical call, that call on day 13, which would have been December 20th, 2018, called 5 Tools for Productivity for 2019, just gives you a quick selection of things that you may be able to incorporate right away, from that prioritizing your work to getting better as a team and an individual around communication. So it's been quite the dash. It's been 14 days of focus. I want to thank you for joining me. If this was the first time we've met, really nice to meet you. Big tagline for 2019 is going to be daily steps plus consistent action equals momentum. It's all about those ongoing bursts of focus. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day. We're not talking huge swaths of time. So what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. We want to make sure we're leaving space and time in our books, in our calendars, wherever we plan, however we plan, so that you can focus. You can keep focusing on what's important to you. As I've mentioned, it's all about consistent action. It's about tracking. So if you do have a copy of the book, make sure that you're filling out on a regular basis some monthly daily trackers. Just a few minutes ago, I turned to my December one and I realized I have been so busy, I haven't been able to fill it in, but I started filling it in this morning. Just checking it off, no nice colors, but really wanting to capture, as I've done in months gone by, some of the really important things that have happened in this first 21 days. Also, you'll want to make sure that you pull out the month in focus and fill those in on a regular basis. Again, there's 12 sets of them from the workbook and planner. And of course, there are a lot of longer term supports that we'll continue to offer. The whole Teams 365 leadership series, those are typically delivered in-house, online, through the virtual space. Over the course of a year, I do bi-weekly Friday calls called the Teams 365 Leadership Lab. You're invited to check that one out. It works out to about $97 a month, which is really well worth it for accountability, tools, resources, and some coaching, live coaching with me on a monthly basis. That is geared for both virtual leaders and virtual remote team leaders. If you're an entrepreneur, another group that I run that you might be interested in is a Friday afternoon group. That's a Coaching Biz Growth Lab. We meet the first and third Fridays of every month. That focuses really on business coaching, helping you gear up with your work. So keep those in mind. Find us online, PlanDoTrack.com. As I mentioned, we'll be continuing to do monthly virtual retreats. I've so enjoyed these in Q4 of 2019, and it is about getting you into action. It's creating a pause for reflection, planning, and action. So join me for one of those two programs, and do stay involved and get involved. You'll notice over at the PlanDoTrack Facebook page, I've started including a little bit more data and input around blog posts, other things that you might be interested in. If this is the first time you've met me, you might be wondering, well, where do I go? How come there are so many different websites? The main company website is my company, potentialsrealized.com. Under that umbrella, we offer coaching, support to coaches, support to leaders, and also support to business owners. And so that's why there are so many different websites, because coaches will be interested in the whole groupcoachingessentials.com. Business owners will be interested in the whole Coaching Business Builder ecosystem, planning retreats, and of course, leaders. You're going to be interested in a lot of the Teams 365. We've also got coachingteamleaders.com as well. So with that, hope to stay in touch. First call for 2019, January 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern. It'll be about kicking off the new year and creating your annual to-do list, taking you back in touch with what's important for you so that you create some space and time to get that bullet list down on paper in one spot. Meet me at 11 a.m. Toronto time in Zoom room 270-302-0415. That is not a phone number, it's a Zoom room. So if you have any questions, that will be my first day back to the office, January 7th. Drop me an email, give me a text, 416-996-8326. Hope that you can join us. Those calls, those monthly calls are free for PlanDoTrack Coaching Business Builder. With that, happy holidays, season's greeting, whatever you celebrate. I hope that you and your loved ones have a wonderful year end and a great start to 2019. Thanks for joining us. And do stay in touch. The 90 Days PlanDoTrack series for the fall today is day 90. Great news. People have loved it so much. I've loved it so much. Really appreciated the reflection that I'm going to continue that on. So do stay tuned for that. With that, take care. Have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.